Hello and welcome to Todd Rolls Dice, where we have another White Dwarf preview to take a look at. This one is for White Dwarf 518. Discover 50 years of Games Workshop history. So, this is good to be in White Dwarf, but I feel like you could do so much more. Wouldn't it be amazing to get a tabletop book, like a coffee table book, big fat hardback thing, going through the history of Games Workshop with pictures of all the miniatures that they've ever made thrown in there and stories from all the people involved at different levels and pictures of maybe new stores opening across the globe and something to really celebrate Games Workshop. White Dwarf is a good start, and sadly I think we all know that this is where the celebration will end, because 10 years of Sigmar just went with very little fanfare. But this is a huge milestone, and before we get into the article I want to take a minute to just say fantastic. It's lovely to see certainly such a weird niche British company become a global powerhouse and a real force for good in the hobby space. But all of the things that they do wrong, for all of the price increases that we kick against, for all of the remade Inquisitor Cotias models that we just detest, they do a lot of good stuff. And pretty much all of the people that I've spoken to in any of the Games Workshop stores that I've been in, and alright, it's only a small handful, but the staff are always fantastic, engaging, genuinely nice people from my accounts. So I think that they're doing something right. Aside from fleecing us of all of our money and making us need second mortgages to be able to afford the hobby that we love, it's nice to see them hitting such a milestone, certainly for a company that was so small to go so big in that 50-year period. And the growth has only really been in the last, 15, 20 years? Really, it was Lord of the Rings license that put them on, early 2000s, that put them on the map globally, I think. But I hope that this is a good celebration issue, and I want more than 50 pages dedicated to this, but we'll see. White Dwarf, the monthly Warhammer magazine packed with awesome photos of miniatures and articles covering the breadth of the hobby, is hitting its 518th issue this November, which you can pre-order on Saturday. It'll be up in 2 weeks. You don't need to pre-order a magazine. I don't know why it goes on pre-order. The headline feature this month is centered on 50 years of Warhammer, attempting to tell a potted history of our company and Warhammer itself. So Warhammer, I think, came after Games Workshop started, but I might be wrong there. I'm not up on the history. It's a sprawling, ambitious piece, good, that starts with the opening of the very first store in Hammersmith, how fitting, London, and covers right up to the present day, featuring people from all across the businesses chipping in with their memories. That's good, that's exciting. And so it begins. Yeah, I want this issue. Just for what it is, for what it celebrates. It is an issue that I will be keeping. Normally I recycle mine. I just bin them off when I'm done with them if there's nothing really interesting. I'll take out any rules or things that I need, but I feel like this is an issue that I want to keep hold of. Everything is covered, from the changing creation of miniatures to the role of heavy metal, the creation of art for Warhammer, and how the design of settings and games has shifted over the years, including a look back at some classic games and a glance at the present, including video games, animations, this very website, and more. It's a fascinating trip into the history of the company and a must-read for veterans and newcomers alike. Oh, second edition, 40k, that brings back some memories. I think I came in at more third edition, but I remember seeing this box somewhere. But obviously Warhammer World, you need to make the pilgrimage at some point if you're a big fan of Games Workshop, I think. How many pages is it? It doesn't actually tell us, does it? The nostalgia doesn't end there either. You can celebrate editions of Warhammer 40,000 past with Battles Through the Ages, which presents rules for 2nd, 3rd and 4th edition Space Marines, plus their opponents Orcs, Drukhari and Tyranids, and 3 missions designed to invoke the iconic boxed sets that launched those eras. Oh, that sounds nice. A little nostalgia hit. A huge battle report, the battle for Khazar Kraf, recreates a pivotal clash in the 13th Black Crusade, which is covered in 2003 and culminated in 2017 with loads of new miniatures and 2 Warhound Titans. Will events unfold how they did 8 years ago? There's only one way to find out. I mean, that looks impressive, doesn't it? Abaddon versus all of Cadia. This is cool. I like that they're doing this. These little looks. I mean, that has to be one of the biggest moments in 40k history, right? Because didn't the fall of Cadia culminate with the return of Guilliman and the Primaris thing, and alright, Primaris is a weird thing, but it was such a pivotal moment in Games Workshop's history, Warhammer 40k's lore and sales history. Wasn't it all kicking off from this 13th Black Crusade and the culmination of the events of the fall of Cadia? So this is quite nice. We're not even halfway through either. For Warhammer Age of Sigmar, there are pages of coverage in the most exciting of all war machines, chariots, and rules for running your Wasteland Death Race, which has you build your own rig, skill up a racer, and take to the racetrack to prove your skill. That sounds like fun. We did something like that in the local GW store a couple of years ago as a celebration. I think it was an anniversary thing. It was 40k, not Sigmar, but yeah, that sounds like fun. There's also a new faction of Dwarden raging around the Mortal Realms, which we're sure Grimbondel has some choice words about. The Hellsmiths of Ashut are the latest Chaos Army, and a hefty design notes article, told you, goes into detail on the whole range of Dwarden and their infernal war machines, the perfect complement of our Roundtable series. You can also learn how to paint your own Zadron with the help of a paint splatter article. This all sounds like fun, actually. Designer's notes, we've kind of hit maximum with Hellsmiths of Ashut, but I do like the White Dwarf designer notes articles for all of the stuff. I'm still waiting on the Space Wolves one, but all of the Chaos ones that they did earlier in the year I thought were really good. Even the Eldari one, which is a faction I don't really care about, but going through the design process and actually hearing from the people who made those miniatures, I just find it interesting. So that's pretty cool. When we're still not done, there's an exhaustive article all about the Bolter, the not-so-humble signature weapon of the 41st millennium, a guide to some of Black Library's favourite Warhammer fiction, and a look at some classic miniatures painted by staff from around the Warhammer studio. There's also a bunch of inserts, including a board overlay and story card for Talisman, a Tacticus card for unlocking Nicodemus, the Sanguinary Priest, your scenarios of the month, and accessories for the Wasteland Death Races. So it sounds like quite a lot of stuff. And they're throwing in some Tacticus and Talisman things. Link to the 12-month subscription if you want to get it cheaper, if you're guaranteed to be picking up every issue. I think in the last 12 months I've probably bought 12 issues, so I should really look at doing that. Then you do get those fancy covers. I think that is a particularly nice cover. It's simple, it just works. It tells you everything that you need to know. This sounds pretty good. Like, 517 was a really strong issue. I feel like we kind of faltered a little bit with some of the previous ones, but 517 was a strong issue, and this, it's sounding like a strong issue, certainly for people who like the hobby as a wider thing, not just focusing on one element or one type of game. By that I mean 40k or Kill Team or AOS, whatever. They don't do much Old World, do they? I wonder how much Old World shows up in here, because Old World, or as it should be known, Warhammer Fantasy, was a huge staple of early Games Workshop. And alright, it fell out of favour a little bit, but hopefully they go into detail in Warhammer Fantasy as well. Obviously 40k is going to be talked about a lot. The Middle-earth strategy battle game should get its moment in the spotlight too, because that was a huge thing in the early 2000s for GW. I hope that this issue does the 50th anniversary justice, but I also want more. Why are they not having a year of celebratory things, even if it's just something in store every month to do, something exciting? But surely you would have thought 50 years of this company, they would have made a couple of miniatures, commemorative miniatures or something, and actually labelled them up as the 50th anniversary. But hey, hopefully this issue hits the spot. I will definitely be picking it up. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.